You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, the Sheryl Swoopes, Caitlin Clark fiasco has hit a nuclear level. Now, in case you were not paying attention, the game between the Fever and the Dallas Wings the other day had Nancy Lieberman on the call. By the way, I don't know who the guy was on that, but they were fantastic on that call the other day on Sunday with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever defeating the Dallas Wings. Well, it seems that it was confirmed. As we know, I put a video out about an hour and a half before that game. Sheryl Swoopes was supposed to call that game, evidently, or at least be involved in the telecast. Whether sideline reporter or actually calling the game, I don't know for sure. But in case you've been living under a rock, Sheryl Swoopes can't stand Caitlin Clark. And she's went on podcast and she's run her mouth, I think with Gilbert Arenas' podcast. And she gave an entire lesson about how great the Indiana Fever were last week and left Caitlin Clark out of it and then got called out as a hater over Caitlin Clark. Well, I think that's confirmed at this point. And it's gotten so bad that it looks like she had been pulled from that broadcast. Nancy Lieberman was replaced. And by the way, Nancy Lieberman, during the game, made these comments about Caitlin Clark and not wanting people to be so damn jealous of Caitlin Clark. And you better take note that Caitlin Clark is going to lead a lot of women to make a lot of new strides in the business. It's pretty early in the morning, folks. It's before 7. So let's take a look at this. This is what she said.
You know, when I walked in here before the game, there were just hundreds of fans lined up.
Oh, yeah.
What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational. And I just, as a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
For just lifting our game up, you and so many great players. But what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multimillionaires one day, like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. And we shouldn't hate on her. We should celebrate her, not tolerate her.
Okay, so you heard that. She's going to make a lot of women rich, and we should be celebrating that. Not be petty, not be jealous. Sheryl Swoopes isn't getting the memo. Well, as you can imagine, Sheryl Swoopes is taking a massive amount of backlash. Her and Stephen A. Smith have been in this feud, and then we got a situation where, in fact, Stephen A. Smith had Nancy Lieberman on his podcast yesterday. And it's confirmed. You see that. Sheryl Swoopes was supposed to call the Fever game yesterday, but because she cannot act like a professional commentator, she was replaced by Nancy Lieberman. By the way, Nancy Lieberman at one time was considered the greatest women's basketball player to ever live. So check this out.
And that's the issue, Nancy, because, listen, and here's the thing. What incriminates, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but what incriminates somebody like Sheryl Swoopes even more, who, by the way, was supposed to be calling the game with y'all yesterday, and she did not call the game, and no doubt it had something to do with the fact that when, you know, how Caitlin Clark had performed early in the week, she didn't want to talk about it at all. So we recognize that, and we know in television the way that I do. I know what producers do. I know what bosses do when you see, you know, your personal feelings, whatever they may be, infiltrating the proceedings and compromising your position as a professional. But I think in the case of Sheryl Swoopes, and I'm not going to belabor this point, but it's important to be made. Sheryl Swoopes is a winner. She was great, and she's a phenomenal basketball mind. So what she's not realizing is that when she doesn't state the obvious, it's automatically going to be assumed that it's something personal, because we know you know the basketball game, the game of basketball too well to ignore the kind of things that she's ignoring when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not wrong in saying that. And I would like to thank the Wings and Bally's for putting me on the game and asking me if I would do it. I will do anything for women's basketball. I'm just a servant leader here. At one point in my career, I wanted to be the greatest of all time. And now I just want to be a great, person that supports this generation. of greatness. So,
I mean, that's absolutely insane that she can't get her feelings under control for Caitlin Clark and act professional to the point they actually got to remove her from the contest. And then we've got this, and this is a whole new level. Now, one of the things that Sheryl Swoopes said on that Gilbert Arenas podcast is she brought up a bunch of statistics that weren't true. Flat out lies. Weren't true. And now she has done what I consider to be the most despicable thing on the planet. One of the worst things, one of the most unprofessional things anybody could possibly do. Honestly, even on a personal level, if somebody does this, bleep them. I'm sorry. If you leak a private conversation publicly, I'm done with you, and I'm going to cook you on top of it. So, this is what we got now. Sheryl Swoopes has now leaked her private DMs between her and Caitlin Clark. I'm not kidding you. Now, keep this in mind as we're talking about this. Screenshots of her DMs with Clark showed Swoopes apologizing after previously stating that Clark needed, quote, 5 seasons to reach the mark for most points in NC2A history, despite playing 4 seasons. Swoopes also mentioned Clark reached the mark by jacking up 50 shots per game at Iowa. Total disrespect. She didn't shoot. I went and looked. I think she averaged about 22 shots. Swoopes opening the DMs concerning the incorrect statement, "Hey, Caitlin, I wanted to personally reach out to you." All right, well, before we get into it, let's just look at the damn DMs. Here we are. "Hey, Caitlin, I wanted to personally reach out to you and say I made a mistake. What this year is for you. COVID year has me all confused, laugh out loud. I have nothing but respect for you and your game and appreciate your skill. Congrats on everything you have accomplished thus far. Be blessed." And a heart. All right? And a heart. So, Caitlin replies with, "No worries at all. I really appreciate you reaching out, and there's no hard feelings. I appreciate all you have done for women's basketball and inspiring girls like me and building the foundation and platform we have today. Heart emoji back." And we've got a "You're very welcome" there. Okay, I really appreciate you and your game. You are taking it to a whole new level. Keep being great. Have a blessed night. You too. Prayers, yada, yada, yada. And I just love the fake Christianity from Sheryl Swoopes with the and by the way, in case you're wondering, this is Sheryl Swoopes' MVP season. Caitlin Clark is having a rookie year that is blowing away Sheryl Swoopes' actual MVP season. Right now, as a rookie, she's crushing. Come on. Sheryl Swoopes' MVP season versus Caitlin Clark's rookie year. That's went viral. So, this thing with Sheryl Swoopes has, I don't know if you could say exploded, imploded. It certainly went mega viral. And we can't help but presume, we don't know if it's a jealousy thing with a lot of these players just recognizing that, hey, this girl's going to probably end up being the greatest to have ever done it by the time it's said and done, which is going to mean a lot of our records are put in the dirt. Or it's the fact that she's getting so much, and I think this is a big one, she's getting so much publicity, they didn't, even though they were great basketball players, nobody cared. All right, nobody watched. I mean, that just is what it is. We saw that, right? So, I think it's notable that we're talking about an activist basketball league. Caitlin is white and she's straight, which is like, oh, that's a double death in this activist basketball league. And there's some hate going on because of that. So you've got all kinds of things at work here. She's now leaked the private DMs. I mean, Sheryl Swoopes has now hit an all-time low level, okay? I mean, being a hater's one thing, being out in the open's one thing. You're doing two things. You put your job at jeopardy because you can't be professional and keep your personal feelings aside, and you now leaked private DMs. Nah, forget you. I mean, seriously? Wow, I got to wonder. And again, she's got this podcast, WNBA logos on it. The Queens of the Court or some crap like that. And it's a podcast that's supposed to be talking WNBA basketball. They refuse to talk about Caitlin Clark. Again, what? I said, if I'm the commissioner, I'm calling Sheryl Swoopes, and I'm like, you either get your act together or I'll kill that podcast. Adam Silver, where are you? Adam Silver's technically over all of it. Man, it went nuts. This is crazy. Wow. Unbelievable. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.